Hi, my name is Noel Davis with World Composting, and today we're going to take a look at our African Nightcrawlers that are in a 10-gallon tote. Now, we have not been doing a lot with these worms. It's been 27 days since my last update. I'm not adding food as far as like frozen food because these worms don't like cold temperatures, and I'm just trying to sort of keep them alive this winter. It's really hard in my area. Right now it's down in the 30s, I think, right now, and we have these highs, really low lows and really high highs as far as during the winter this year, so it's been really a yo-yo of humidity and temperature in my basement. Now, I will add some food, but it's not our standard frozen food. I do have some different things I can add, such as like flour, or I could crush up some seeds like from birds or something like that, but I'm not going to add any frozen food. I do believe in adding food to the system. It's just I really am trying to be careful about those temperatures because it has been probably in the mid to low 60s in my basement, and below 60 degrees these African nightcrawlers can really suffer and they can start to die, which I think has happened last year for some of the bins that I didn't have heated. So I'm taking this very slow, and with that, let's go take a look at our system, see how it's doing, and let's get the food added. All right, here is our bin. Here's our last update on 130 and today's date of 3/8. I haven't put the little mark there because we're going to check out the bin before we do anything else. So let's go ahead and flip this over. And oh, look at that, there's some moisture on here. That means that there's a little bit of humidity in there, which is a good thing. Maybe a little bit of warmth comparatively. So let me just shake that moisture off. Put the lid to the side here, and the first thing we're going to do is just take a temperature check in here and just see how it's doing. So 65 degrees Fahrenheit, 18.3 degrees Celsius. So it's a little bit chilly in there. As I said, that's been one of the issues with, having African nightcrawlers in this part of the world, is that I'm not heating these systems. I tried that. That didn't work very well either last year. But I am seeing a lot of castings on the top here. It looks really good. So let's just go ahead and dig. We'll start on this side over here. We'll just sort of start digging this up a little bit. Just see what we can find. All right, we found our first worm here. Look at this. Looks like a nice, big, healthy one. Just very careful there, but look at that. First worm, healthy. A little slow, though. A little sluggish, which isn't surprising. As we know, the temperatures are down. And these worms just don't like these type of temperatures. So let's just check in here a little bit more. Oh, found another one over here. This one, up two more, or three more. There's three over here. Whoops. So we got one right here on this little piece of stuff. We've got another one right here. Again, very sluggish. This one almost, it's really kind of wiggling around. They're not healthy, but they're not dead. And then we've got another one right here that's a smaller one. And oh, it looks like another one fell down over here. We had added some coffee in here, so they're on this side. You can't see it, but there's a little piece of tape over here to mark where we added coffee grounds. Coffee tends to heat up. Like this one's moving a little bit, but again, they're all just, you could tell that they're kind of sluggish. Here's a real big one. This one though, oh, this one's got protein poisoning, it looks like. That's not a good sign. So, it's either that or it just shed a cocoon. Because it looks like it was only part of it, but it does look like there's something a little bit off there. So we're going to go ahead and put that one down. We'll be very careful. But as I said, this is just, they're never going to be 100% at these temperatures. And I know that these are, we got a baby over here. That one's moving around quite a bit. So, but it is the problem with keeping these worms in Maryland. I'm hoping that what I can do is build up. I've been trying to get more coffee grounds because I just don't drink coffee as much anymore. My wife does, but I drink it very infrequently. Did I throw something in there? I can't remember. Did I throw something in the coffee grounds, or is that just mold? I'm not sure. But coffee grounds do tend to heat up because of their high nitrogen content. That's what I was hoping they would do in here. And when I get my bag system going, I'll be able to throw in a ton of food, build up a ton of heat during the winter, and just maintain it that way, kind of have a hot compost almost on the top. It's hard to do that in these little systems, but I'm just trying to do the best I can with what I have. If I add a heater to it, it's going to dry out the system, and the worms are going to do just as bad. It's just that then what happens is all this stuff is going to dry out, and then they're going to be, they're going to be worse for wear, I think, in that case. All right, so here we go. We got more coffee grounds over here. I missed this packaging right there, but yeah, we got more coffee grounds in here. So I'm going to go ahead and bury those in there. Let's go to this side over here, which was the opposite side from where all the food was, just to see if there's anything over here. Oh, we do have a worm over here. All right. Not much going on this side. This isn't surprising. There's not a lot of food over here. It looks like this is very, very well composted. We've got some cardboard. But you can see this is primarily castings over here. I mean, this system looks really, really good over here. So, oh, actually, here's one worm that rolled down here. So there we go. There's one that's in there. But yeah, this side has primarily castings, very little cardboard or food. It's a little bit stuck on the bottom there, but you can just see. Material, though, I have to say, the one thing I really like about these African Nightcrawlers, the material. Oh, here's another big one over here. This one looks a little bit more lively. But these worms give off fantastic looking castings. They're kind of big, and I don't know, they really do. I'm hoping that I can keep them alive over this winter, and then hopefully I'll be able to do some better stuff next winter with maybe a larger system, maybe even a larger tote system where I can really kind of play around a little bit more with adding food on one side with some fresh bedding and everything, and just kind of build that hot composting system to heat up the rest of the system and let the worms find that balance. With this, though, it's really hard in these tiny systems like this to do that. So I know I added the coffee grounds in the middle right here just a second ago. Let's just dig down here just a little bit. So you can see, I mean, just look at these castings. They look phenomenal. I have seen some worms. I haven't found them all, but I mean, like, there's definitely a bunch of worms in here of different sizes. Hopefully, as this heats up, they start really laying some cocoons. Actually, here's another one over here. But hopefully they'll start laying some cocoons, and we'll start really seeing this population rebound hard this summer. Now, with that, I am going to go ahead and throw in, actually, we'll do it on this side over here. We're just going to throw in some stuff that's not cold. This is not going to be cold food, but I don't think this needs any moisture either. I mean, the moisture content feels really good. But we're just going to add some stuff maybe that'll kind of help this out a little bit as far as drying. I was debating on adding more bedding material, but I think we're going to hold off on that. I was thinking about even adding some, I didn't know how this would look, but this looks really good, the castings. So what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and add, where is it? I have some cornstarch over here. You probably can't read that, but this is cornstarch. We're going to add some cornstarch, and then we're going to also to this add some neem cake. And I know that's going to take a second. And I do have links to these on my Amazon page, or at least to the neem cake, not to the cornstarch. That you can buy at any store you go to. But I'm going to put a mask on while doing this because it is a little bit powdery. But the idea is that this cornstarch is expired by a couple years. So we're just going to go ahead and dump the rest of this in there. There's not much left. And by the way, I put a mask on because this is dry and I can see a cloud of stuff coming up right now. And that's empty. That'll get recycled. And now let's add in some of our neem cake to the same area. Then we're going to mix this into the bedding. And this is a food, but it should be it's a dry food that's not cold. So that's really what I'm sort of going for. I don't really want to change the consistency too much. We're just going to go ahead and mix this up though like this. See how this works. This will give them a food source over here without me adding more bedding material, and that way they can still continue to work on the bedding. And then I think I will add a little bit of moisture to this. This neem cake powder and the cornstarch are a little dry. And I'd hate for that to dry out the rest of the bin. So we're going to go pour a little bit of water on here. The water I have, by the way, does, and I am wearing a mask, so if I sound a little bit fuzzy there, but it does have my BTI mix in it to prevent fruit flies, but I'm not seeing anything like that in here, or I should say fungus gnats, primarily. But I'm not seeing anything like that in here, so we're going to get just a little bit of water here. Just like that. Kind of work it in there a little bit. There we go. For some reason the neem cake does seem to ball up like that, so I do try to break those apart. Hopefully this isn't too cold. Hopefully this will warm up a little bit. You know, I'm not adding coffee grounds, unfortunately. That is one of the best things to add, I find, to add heat to a system. But with that, we did add a little bit of something for them to eat, since they are pretty much done the the food that's in here, but also the paper. I'm going to I have a piece of tape I'm going to put on this side so we mark which side we last fed on. And we're going to go ahead and cover this back up and put it back on the shelf. The worms are doing okay. They're not great, but they're not like struggling mightily. I still don't know if that worm had protein poisoning or if it was just like, it was only where the, that one piece where they lay they release the cocoon from. So I'm wondering if it just released a cocoon, and that's really what we were seeing. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and put this back on the shelf. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below and let me know.